All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open one of the absolute cornerstones of Western political thought, Aristotle's Politics. Think about it. Over 2,000 years ago, this guy was asking the biggest questions you can imagine. Why do we even have governments? What are they supposed to do? And what's the secret sauce that makes them work or fall apart? Let's find out.
To really get Aristotle's whole political philosophy, you got to start with his take on human nature itself. He believed that the most basic thing about us is what pushes us to build societies in the first place.
You've probably heard this famous quote before, right? But what does it actually mean? It's not just that we're social and like to hang out together. For Aristotle, this idea is way deeper. It's the very foundation of what makes us human.
Aristotle basically said that anyone living completely outside a community, or a polis as he called it, must be either a beast or a god. His point was, to be a flourishing, fully realized human being, you have to live and take part in a political community. It's just baked into our nature.
And here's where he makes a really key distinction. He pointed out that sure, other animals have a voice, they can grunt or cry to show pleasure or pain, but only humans have speech. And what do we do with speech? We use it to reason, to debate big ideas about what's right and wrong, what's fair and unfair. That unique skill is what makes us political animals.
So how does the state even form? Well, Aristotle saw it as a completely natural growth, almost like a plant. It starts with a family, right? The most basic unit, just for day-to-day survival. Then, a few families get together to form a village. And finally, a bunch of villages unite, and boom, you have the state. A community that's big enough to be self-sufficient and lets people focus on more than just staying alive. For him, the state isn't some artificial thing we invented. It's the natural destination for humanity.
Okay, so if the state is this natural thing, that leads to the next big question. What's its ultimate purpose? I mean, what is it really for?
In the beginning, it's pretty simple. People come together for the basics. Survival, safety, security. The state gives us a structure that protects us and makes sure we have what we need to get by. But that's just the starting line.
And this is the real kicker. We might form states just to survive, but we keep them going for something much bigger, the chance to live a good life. The ultimate goal of the state isn't just to keep us breathing. It's to create a place where people can truly flourish, be virtuous, and find happiness.
And what holds this whole community together? Justice. For Aristotle, justice is the glue. It's the core principle that creates order and makes that good life possible for everybody. Without it, the whole thing just falls into chaos. This brings us to the next totally logical question. If the goal is helping citizens live a good and virtuous life, well, who should be in charge of steering the ship? Now, Aristotle didn't think there was just one magic answer to this. Instead, he came up with a really clever system for classifying all the different types of government, and it's all based on two very simple but very powerful questions.
First up, who's holding the power? Is it just one person, a small group, or is it everybody? And second, and this is the one that really matters, why are they ruling? Is it for the benefit of everyone, for the common good, or are they just looking out for themselves? These two questions are the key to his whole system.
So let's see how this actually works. This framework gives us 6 basic forms of government, 3 true or good versions, and then 3 perverted or corrupt versions.
This chart lays it all out beautifully. Let's start at the top. When one person rules for the common good, Aristotle calls it royalty or monarchy. But if that single ruler starts acting purely in their own self-interest, it decays into tyranny. Makes sense, right? Next, when a few excellent, virtuous people rule for everyone's benefit, that's an aristocracy. But when that small group just rules to make themselves richer, it becomes an oligarchy. And finally, when the many, the general population, rule for the good of the whole community, that's a constitutional government. But, and this is a key point, when the poor majority rules only in their own interest at the expense of everyone else, Aristotle called that democracy, a corrupted form. For him, it didn't matter who was in charge. The second they stopped serving the common good, the government was broken. Which leads us right to our final topic. Because even the best states are fragile. So what did Aristotle think was the main reason for political chaos and even revolution? His diagnosis here is just timeless. He argued that revolutions really kick off when a big chunk of the population feels a deep, burning sense of injustice and inequality. It can happen when people feel they're being treated as less than they are, or when a group thinks they deserve more than they're getting. Either way, that feeling of unfairness is the root cause of instability. And that feeling can be sparked by so many different things.
Maybe the rulers are arrogant and just flaunt their power. Maybe people are just scared they won't be treated fairly. Or one group in society gets way too powerful. Or people just get fed up with corrupt leaders, or they feel like the whole election system is rigged. Aristotle saw all of these as the little matches that can light a revolutionary fire.
So it all comes full circle. A state's survival is tied directly to its core mission. When a government stops trying to achieve justice and stops working for the common good, it's basically betraying its whole reason for being and planting the seeds of its own downfall. And that kind of brings us right back to today, doesn't it? Aristotle's ideas have shaped how we think about politics for centuries, but they also leave us with a really big question to chew on. Is his vision that the main goal of a state is to help its citizens live a good life still what we think today? Or has the purpose of government become something else entirely?